Hello friends, welcome all of you to my YouTube channel. Here I am Umakant Patra. I'm going to explain my how was my experience at IIT Ropar during my PhD interview. Recently my IIT Ropar interview was there. My interview was in morning time and there were three professors in my panel. Basically, as I joined the interview, they asked me to introduce myself. As my interview, after introducing myself, they basically asked what the topics you are prepared from interview. I as well as I told my MSc project, condensed matter physics and quantum mechanics. But here in IIT Ropar, I observed a new thing that they told me that we will basically start from the basic topics like classical, statistical, EMT, what we are comfortable in which subject. I replied that sir I am comfortable with the statistical mechanics. So one of the professor told me that what is your research interest. I told that I experimental condensed matter physics is my research interest. So he basically asked me some questions from solid state physics. No, basically he start from XRD. He told me that XRD. I would did it in your MSc. Yes sir, I did it during my MSc project work. So basically he start from XRD. And friends, he asked me some important and standard question from XRD which I am going to explain, and how the experience was there. Okay. Basically these are the question which asked me from XRD. He asked me first question was that what is the application of diffraction in solid state physics. I replied that sir, it is used in Bragg diffraction, loud diffraction for XRD. So he asked me, please explain Bragg's diffraction. What is Bragg diffraction and how the principle behind it? What is the principle behind it? So then, as I replied the Bragg diffraction, he asked me why you are getting XRD peak. So I replied that peak is coming out due to the interference or constructive interference between the diffractor or reflected ray after reflected from the atom at the lattice point. Then he basically asked me, as usual, what is the basic information you are getting from the XRD? It's already described in my previous video. From XRD, basically what we got, we are getting the information about the crystal structure, lattice parameters, interplanar spacings, grain size, grain structure, etc. Then he give me a new type of question. Basically, I found it first time. He give me a situation that you are measuring XRD for a perfect crystal. Okay, you are getting certain pattern. Then there is some defect in that crystal. Okay, can you recognize the defect by performing XRD? Okay, so this was the very basic question and very new question for me. I replied that yes sir, due to existence of defect, the peak nature of the peak will be changes. That means the height or intensity of the XRD peak will be changes, and there is certain chances of peak shift also there. Okay. Then also he give me another situation that suppose you are measuring the XRD for a NaCl crystal, okay, ionic crystal. I replace the sodium atom by other atom like iron, cobalt, etc. Then what will be the changes in XRD pattern? It's basically important question. So I think that there will be certain changes in XRD pattern due to the change of atom, because every atom has the individual atom scattering factor. So by replacing the atom, the scattering factor will be changes, so that the intensity of the scattering wavelength will be scattered X-ray will be changes. So intensity of the XRD pattern will be changes. I expect that and answered them like that. Okay. Then he gave me the situation like draw the XRD pattern for single crystalline and nano crystalline and show them by pen and paper. Okay. And the last question was that what does the sharpness of the XRD pattern indicate? What the sharpness indicate? Basically, I did not answer this question because a new type question for me. Sharpness of the peak indicate what? For me, I think the sharpness indicating the spacing between the different HKL planes in the solid, I think, but not comfortable and not confirm about that question, so I did not answer this question. Friends, this is a basically and important question from XRD, which was asked me during IIT Ropar PhD interview. Okay, then he entered into the solid state physics and asked me what is the basic difference between free electron and electron in a band. As you know, in free electron there is no interaction potential. The electrons are basically free, they are moving in a constant or zero potential field. But in case of electron in a band, a solid, there is exist a certain finite potential, periodic potential, and electron are moving under the influence of that periodic potential. Okay, so their behavior is totally different from the free electrons. So he asked me to draw the EK diagram for the free electron, basically, which is parabola in nature, because E equal to p square by 2m. And for the electron in the band, as you know, there will be extended band zone and reduced band zone. I draw it and show them by the pen and paper. Okay, then he asked me important question: why band gap exists in solid? Why band gap exists in solid? Basically, I answered that the band gap exists, and the existence of band gap is confirmed from the Korny-Penny model, and basically it's due to the presence of periodic potential. If periodic potential is not there, the electrons is like behaving the free electrons, so there is no band gap. The electron moves in the periodic potential, that's why we are solving the Korny-Penny model and if Schrodinger equation by using the boundary value function and using the Bloch function. And after the solving, we are getting the forbidden band and allowed band, which is giving the information about the existence of different bands in the solid. Okay, what is the meaning of band gap? Meaning of band gap means the region, the forbidden region, where the wave like solution is not exist, which is not the allowed state for the electrons. We can say that this is the region where the electron wave function cannot exist. Finding a probability of finding electron is 0, or we can say that this is the region where electron cannot move. These are the band gaps of the solid. Then he give me a question: how can you change the density of state of solid? Guys, is the most important question asked me during IIT Ropar interview. How can you change the density of state of a solid? So first of all, you have to know what is density of state. Basically, density of state is the number of available energy state for a definite range of energy or definite range of k. That means we are shift from E to E plus dE. Then how much energy state is available in that range? Suppose you are moving from k to k plus dk. You are moving from p to p plus dp. Then how much energy state are available for the electrons? This is the density of state. So think, how can we change the density of state? Guys, we only can change the density of state of material by changing its shape and size. That means by changing the dimension. Think, suppose we are preparing a nano wire. It's a one-dimensional structure. If I convert that one-dimensional nano wire into a nano sheet, that convert into the two-dimensional structure, then the density of state will be different. If I convert that two-dimensional nano sheet into a quantum dot which is spherical in nature, then the density of state will be different. So density of state can be changes by changing the dimensions or the shape size of the material. Okay, this total was the question from condensed matter physics, which include the XRD and some basic question from free electron gas theory and band theory. Okay, then there is a professor who forcefully entered into me into the EMT theory and give me two different questions. Basically, these are very easy question. You also can do it. He gave me first question that if a constant magnetic field is applied along z direction, okay, a constant magnetic field is applied along z direction, then find the corresponding vector potential. You can easily solve by using a B magnetic field equal to curl of vector potential B equal to del cross A. By using this formula, you can easily solve this question. Then he give me a question that a charge q is moving with a velocity v in a vertical direction, and you have to calculate the magnetic field at certain distance r, okay, from that conductor at the point p by using Biot-Savart law. Okay, these are the basic two questions which was asked me during IIT Ropar interview from EMT section. Okay, then there is a professor, he asked me some basic question from statistical mechanics. Okay, Basically, he starts from Ising model, which is the which comes under second order phase transition. Okay, he basically give me he asked me what is Ising model. Okay, explain it, then write the Hamiltonian for two particle system. As I write minus j summation SISJ, he asked me what is j, why negative sign is coming out, then calculate the different energy eigenvalue as per the spin is equal to plus or minus 1. Okay, this is the basic question which comes under numerical comes from Ising model in net and gate. Such question was asked me, but when we enter into the Ising model for n particle system, I found it totally difficult in order to answer them, because it's quite tough to answer for n particle system. So what he asked me different question from continuously from Ising model, and finally he entered into the magnetization. What do you mean by spontaneous magnetization, and which category of material is showing the spontaneous magnetization? I replied that ferromagnetic materials are showing spontaneous magnetization because they are consist of domains which are already magnetized. Okay, they have non-zero magnetic moment almost. Okay, initially. So whenever you apply magnetic field, there is just the orientation of the domains along the direction of magnetic field. Okay. Then he asked me certain question like what the orientation is there before T is equal to Tc, and what is the orientation after T equal to Tc, which is basically the critical temperature. There are certain questions like asked me from Ising model. Okay, from the statistical mechanics part. Basically, these are the total question asked me during my IIT Roper interview. Okay, my interview experience was good, but I am not still satisfied with my performance, because I feel some difficulties in this Ising model questions. Okay, thank you guys. I hope you will enjoy the session and got some different and important question from my experience. Hope you will enjoy, and it will work for you, and it will helpful for you. So kindly, if you like my video, then share it, subscribe it, and like my video. Thank you so much.